It would have been one thing if it had been just two people meeting and walking into love together. Not falling into love, meeting, seeing each other, and consciously walking into love together with conscious intention each step of the way. If it had been just that, in and of itself, that would have been really unique, somewhat extraordinary, and certainly really, really beautiful. But it wasn't just that. The thing is, it was two people and a third autonomous entity that she carried within her that I later came to recognize and call as the dark thing. The dark thing. Let me try this, because this has always been a hard point for me to get across when I talk about the dark thing. It was easier to write in the book, because in a book you have a novel, you have fictional artistic license to create the world that you're creating. And it makes sense within the scope of structure of that narrative. Like, it's eminently sensible. But the thing is that I actually conceptualized things that way. To me, I called she had a dark thing in her body. She had a dark conscious presence, an autonomous presence that lived inside of her body. And that's the best way of describing it, because it's the most accurate way of describing it. And I've always had a hard time communicating that, because it sounds so esoteric to a certain extent, or so bizarre or strange. It's just not the way that we typically conceptualize things. We like science. And so I was just thinking it through. Let me put it this way. I believe that, like, all of us, every one of us, we have a core you. Like, in your heart, there's a core you. There's a me. There's an answer to the question, who are you? And you feel it. You feel it. You feel when you're in contact with it. You feel when your heart is coming out of your mouth and the words that you're saying. You feel the wholeness and the purity, and that you're speaking truth. You feel it. And we all have that. Some of us, it's buried. Some of us, it's under a lot of layers of memories. Memories are an argument for one thing or against a thing. And they become these voices that speak to you. I'm not describing anything esoteric now. We all go through this process on a daily basis. We have this inner set of voices that tells us, discusses choices, tells us to do a thing or not do a thing. Sometimes it's just feelings, motive feelings, but other times it's words that come in our heads, arguments. And if you have a set of memories that's not really very diverse, and that is also really terrible, all this same action and kind of terribleness, that's going to be an enormous voice that speaks to you. And this is what demons are, and this is what ghosts are. There aren't metaphysical other entities that enter your body in that way, that existed before. They enter your body through experience and memory. And that's what she had inside of her. And it was a big one. a really powerful dark thing. Here's what I would say. I'd say that I knew it was a risk or a gamble because it was such a challenge. It was going to be such a difficult challenge. But I also knew that I could do it. And the reason I knew I could do it was simple. That's the thing, it was very simple, so it was easy to hold on to and remember. It was that I had seen the vision of it all the way to the end. And that vision went into my heart. And so I knew it was in my heart. And that meant that all I had to do was listen to my heart. That the vision was in there, and as long as I did what my heart told me to do, that it would be the right choice. And I could do it. I would do it. I would win, I guess. Win this battle that I was choosing to fight. Yeah. Win this battle that I was choosing to fight. I have these 2 fortune cookies that have been lying around on my counter for weeks, months, a long time. And I decided to eat them just now, partly to get rid of them, but also actually because I wanted the fortunes. I wanted to see what the fortune said. And the first one said, "A smile can always overcome the barrier of language, as you can see." And the second one said, after I opened the first one, I was like, you know what, I want both. I didn't decide originally to, but I decided I wanted a double message. Because the first one told me something I needed to remember. And the second one said, courage comes through suffering. And I was like, that's it. That's all I need. Because what those 2 messages tell me is to keep fighting for love. So okay then, here we go.